Working at home, though, right?
Yeah, but she can't. She's too busy working. Watch.
Thank you. My name is Melissa Carone. I am a resident of Wayne County. I have a background in IT and cybersecurity. I was contracted by PDS Staffing to work with Dominion Voting Systems, assisting with IT at the TCF Center. I started work at 6 a.m. on November 3rd, and I worked until 5 a.m. on November 4th. I returned to work at 10 a.m. November 4th and worked until 2 p.m. November 4th. I was initially supposed to return back to work around 4, but I was told via text through one of the other Dominion workers named Samuel that I wasn't needed, that they were almost finished counting. I wasn't going to mention this, being that it has been mentioned numerous times. I'm going to. I was initially supposed to be working. I was initially supposed to be working at the Department of Elections. That was an order from Dominion Voting Systems.
From Dominion?
They told me that I would be parking in a parking lot and I would be shuttled in through a shuttle. I called my mother and I told my mother about this, and my mom said, no, absolutely not. You're not doing that. I also had a concern about that because I do have two small young children at home and I needed access to my vehicle. What I witnessed at the TCF Center was complete fraud. The whole 27 hours I was there, there was batches of ballots being ran through the tabulating machines numerous times, being counted 8 to 10 times. I watched this with my own eyes. I was there to assist with IT. These people on night shift, I had 4 people on night shift that I've known. One of them I've known for over 20 years. He approached me and said he had absolutely zero training whatsoever, contradicting 100% what Daniel Baxter claims, that they had so much training. He said they had zero. I watched. These people had no idea what they were doing. Okay. Also, the adjudication process, I witnessed numerous people walking up, claiming they were both Democrats, saying they were sitting together, judging ballots all night together, all day together. I witnessed it all. I was on the main stage with all of the city officials. Daniel Baxter was in on the whole thing, and I am under the impression 100% that at least 90% of those workers were all in on this. There was not a single ballot the whole night, the whole 27 hours I was there, that I saw that was for Donald Trump. Not one. Not a single ballot.
Not one.
That is scary. There is no reason for that. Also, I'm going to say that there was something going on at that Department of Elections.
Yeah.
And it's
She was supposed to work at the Department of Elections.
Something
Why?
that's very illegal that occurred there. And I am grateful to God that I did not go there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did they have a tabulator there?
Vice Chair Lucido has a question.
She wasn't
You were
done.
employed by whom to do what?
Okay, so I am a freelance IT worker.
Okay.
I was employed by PDS, P as in Paul, D as in David, S as in Sam, staffing, to assist with IT work for Dominion.
For
At the
Dominion.
Software company.
Dominion Voting Systems, correct. I was with Nick Atanamagas. He's
Why were-
my manager.
I apologize, but this is very, why did they feel that they needed to have assistance there for the software?
So a couple people have asked me the same question. I cannot answer that. These people were very secretive, and I will say that these people were very, very secretive and just really pushy. Never did I ever admit I was a Republican to these people. The comments that they were making were disgusting.
Regardless of Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green, it doesn't matter. I'm getting right to the heart of it. What was the instated purpose that the software company needed to have the assistance of support staff for IT?
I believe that it was because Nick and Samuel that are permanent employees of Dominion, Nick is a part owner, that they had
He was
to be together on the stage, working together, so it looked like they had, assistance with IT. Now, I was also not allowed to wear a badge or tell anybody who I was working with.
That's fine. So, your opinion that it was them that needed to be there, you don't know anything if it was contractual, you don't know if there was anything that was going glitchy, which means that there was.
Oh, I know of a lot of stuff that,
But my question is, factually, which
Yeah.
means today, as you sit here, is there anything you can tell us
Yes.
that was happening with the software where Nick and
okay, so.
Samuel had to go assist in this?
Absolutely.
What was that?
Okay, so Samuel was missing for about 3 hours. When he returned, I said, "Where were you?" He said, "I was at the warehouse." I said, "Where's this warehouse?" And I said, "Is it an Amazon warehouse? I don't know. What kind of warehouse is it, right?" And he said, "We call it the Chicago warehouse." And I said, "Okay, so it's in Chicago?" Because they're from Colorado. I said, "So it's in Chicago?" And he said, "No, Melissa, it's in Detroit. We call it the Chicago warehouse." I said, "Okay," and I just walked away. But there was
Why do
something
they call
very
it the
secretive
Chicago
that he was
warehouse?
doing.
Was there ballots
There was
made in
also a
Chicago for
data-
him?
They said a big data loss.
Sitting there?
Right before they sent Samuel to this warehouse.
What time was that?
That was when Samuel went to the warehouse, that was approximately, it was in the afternoon. I believe it was around 2 or 3.
Is that on the 3rd or the 4th?
The 3rd.
Thank you. I'm okay. You have written testimony for the chair?
I have my
And the
second
committee?
affidavit, and I have what I was speaking off of just
Could you
now.
send that to us, please?
Absolutely.
Include your phone number if you could, in case we
Absolutely.
have questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Before you go, please,
Sure.
I have a question. When you testify about ballots being counted multiple times, what are you basing that analysis that they were counted multiple times?
Okay, so, I'm sorry, so the tabulating machines, when a ballot jams, it puts up an error. It'll say discard or recount. So when it puts up that error, when a jam occurs, the correct way to go about it is to discard the whole batch, take the ones that have already been tabulated, put them back into a pile, put the one that jammed on top, and then discard the whole thing, and then rescan them. They were not discarding. So they were just rescanning, counting ballots 8 to 10 times. Just
Counting the
recounting them. They had
same stacks
absolutely
8 to 10
no idea what they
times.
were doing.
So you're saying that they were literally opening up the box, taking the ballots back out of the box, and then sending them through again?
No, they
Okay.
were just taking,
I
so
wanna be
when a
clear on
ballot, okay, so when a ballot was, when the error came up on the PC in front of them, and it said that a jam occurred, I would go try, because it happened so many times in the 27-hour period. Each machine, it did it between 2 and 3 times an hour. So, because these were folded ballots, they're mail-in ballots. So, when it occurred, and then it threw up the error, discard, rescan. As I just stated, you are supposed to take the problem ballot that got jammed, put it on top of the whole pile, discard it, because that's why the option is there. If you do not discard it, it is recounting it. So they would take the ones that were already, say ballot number 25 had an issue. You had already went through 24 ballots. So you're going to put them back all in a pile, and you're just going to rescan it. So it's counting those 24 again, instead of discarding those 24 and restarting.
Oh, but that's what I was trying to ask. So they're literally taking, you're
Did I
saying.
answer
You know shit, Dick. Well, no, I had to keep
Did she
asking.
answer?
Ballots that already went through the machine, taking them and scanning them a second time.
That's absolutely what I said, yes.
So help me understand, 'cause I haven't worked in AV counting center.
You're a Democrat,
My
right?
precinct, and when our ballots go into the tabulator, there's no access to them after they're accepted.
That's
to
because
go
you're
into a sealed box.
live
Oh,
on
no,
election
these
day.
ones, no, I've heard that too from other states that they do drop directly into a steel box. No, the steel boxes were behind them, which I could say a lot about that too, but I won't. But they were using those for barriers for the poll watchers so they couldn't get close, the steel boxes. But no, they were 100% in the counter's hands. This whole process. They were allowed to do whatever they wanted to do. Nick and Samuel that worked for Dominion,
Right.
they were on the stage. They had a contract employee, me, and another one that was from Texas. I have his name right here, Miles Smiley, 90-year-old man there to assist with IT work. He did not have
90-year-old
any
man
kind of
doesn't have
background
any
in
idea
IT
what to
and
do.
worked and lived in Tennessee. So this man was just walking around aimlessly. You know, I was really the only one running around like crazy helping these people.
Thank you for that clarification. I was not aware that it,
No, and they
I mean,
were
the machines that-
responsible.
The machines I've been exposed to don't work that same way, so I was just
Hold on.
checking in on that. Senator Tice.
So
I'm not going to answer
trying
it
to
right now
figure
because
out
I'm recording
the whole line
something.
of everything here. So you were trained to work with the equipment and the tabulators themselves,
Correct.
and they were going to send you to the Department of Elections?
Initially, that is
So
where
do
I
they
was
have-
scheduled.
Tabulators at the Department of Elections?
That's the main question here, huh?
Uh-huh. Did they have tabulators at the State Board of Elections? Were they tabulating a
was
bunch of
trained
fake ballots
On
there?
the tabulation and adjudication process, and how many people just came up before me stating that they saw people walking in and out of that Department of Elections with ballots.
With ballots.
As I stated, I was not supposed to even talk about this today,
And
but
then
I'm going
as they're
to.
scanning, they have a pile of them, they're putting them through a scanner, and the pile, once it's gone through the scanner, is still fully accessible to the person
Absolutely,
who's doing the count.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
They could scan them 50 times if they wanted to.
Fraud, fraud, fraud.
Senator Lucido?
Yeah,
Senator,
this is interesting. You were trained to oversee tabulators. Is that what you told us?
I was trained to assist with IT
In tabulators.
and the adjudication process, correct, sir?
Who trained you to use
Dominion.
your technique on the tabulators as it relates to the IT?
Dominion.
Dominion did. Was it their representatives that came to the TCF Center?
It was the owner of Dominion, Nick Economagnes, that came to the TCF Center, which is extremely insane because he's like the top of the top with Dominion, which is he's
When
missing.
did
He's
you
like
meet
the
with
top
them
partner
at the TCF Center to
Dominion.
get your training?
Okay, so my training was in Allen Park at the hotel they were staying at, right off of Southfield Freeway. It was November 2nd for 1 hour.
The day before the elections?
November 2nd, correct.
The day
sir.
before the election?
Yes, sir.
1 hour training. Was it done by video or was it done with a tabulator?
It was done with a tabulating machine and an adjudication machine in a room, in a conference room, and all we did was walk around it and nothing. We were given a binder, I have it right here, from Dominion about all their image cast, about how their software works. I have every Dominion employee here. I have the ones that were at
How many were with
the
you in this?
warehouse.
How many?
5 total.
5 total.
2 contract employees, 3 permanent employees of Dominion. Let me just say this, there was 1 permanent employee of Dominion. She went by the name of Danielle. Her real name was China, which she told me later. She's the one who told me Nick was a part owner, which was confirmed later on. She was acting very bizarre the whole night, would start crying, would start saying she couldn't handle being there.
Okay.
I saw the van come in at 4:30 full of ballots. That she left an hour before that, had someone pick her up.
thank you.
Chairman, as long as we get her testimony, I would be intrigued to look at whatever you have
Absolutely,
through the chair.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Vice Chair. Hold on. I have another question for you, ma'am, please. Vice Chair Irwin has a question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I were to take a ballot, an absentee ballot, and I were to run that through a machine multiple times, and that ballot were to be counted multiple times, Is that machine going to?
See, they won't show 'em now, but that's at Dick.
Reflect those votes in the vote total at the end of the day? And is that ballot going to be recorded in the poll book 8 times or something? I mean, what's the?
Why do you think the poll books were so off?
Well, they were off a little bit less than they were in previous elections. So unless
No,
your
they were
allegation
off.
is that
They were off, 100%.
Excuse me, members of the audience, please respect the.
Sorry, I mean, you
that him
asked
right
a
there?
question, what do you-
Yeah,
what do you-
there's that guy. That's that guy that's a dick. He's the 3-minute buzzer guy.
Excuse me.
They kept like pushing everybody
I
out.
couldn't hear what was going on, because too many people talking over each other, so if you could please, Mr. Vice Chair, finish your line of questioning, I'd like to hear the end of it, please.
that was the end of it. There was just one question, which was that, you know, if this were to happen, it would show up in the tabulations being off. And we know,
They were off.
we know to what extent that they're off.
They were off.
Right, yeah, we know that.
So
Yeah,
what are
we
you
know
asking-
that.
What are you asking me?
So what are you asking me? Dumb
I'm
shit?
trying to ask you, if
Sir.
someone were to,
Go ahead.
if someone were to go and run the same ballot over and over and over again, that would end up showing up as a massive discrepancy, right?
Did I
And we've
say
added up
somebody
the
took a ballot
discrepancies.
and ran it over and over and over again?
You
Just
did-
one ballot? Or a batch of 50?
Either way, I mean, the batch of
Right.
50 is gonna be
If you
even
take
more.
one and you run it over and over and over again, yeah, people are gonna notice that that one has been, ran over and over. I had numerous challengers come up to me and say, what's going on here? One guy got thrown out because he took a picture of me.
Sure, I'm just wondering why the numbers at the end of the day aren't matching up with the stories that we're hearing. I'm trying to square that circle.
Oh.
Question
Investigation
is
of all
as
of
good as
these
everybody
allegations.
else's in here.
Yeah, there's
Why
gotta be an
isn't it-
investigation
why
of all
isn't it
this, and
matching
we're gonna look
up?
into all
It's
these
not
details.
matching up.
Ma'am,
Everything
ma'am.
that happened at that TCF center was fraud. Every single thing. Every avenue was
Excuse me.
taken to commit it.
Please. Appreciate your passion, but he feels his question was answered, appreciate that.
Whatever.
One additional follow-up.
Yeah, his answer was the numbers weren't off, and she's like, the numbers are off. Hello.
Late, do you have knowledge of where they came from?
I cannot say that for 100%. I do not know 100%.
Okay,
Do I assume where they came from? Absolutely.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Senator McDonald, thank you.
Ah.
Your testimony was very compelling, so I just want to go back to what I asked Senator Colbeck. Where is the Department of Justice in this? I mean, without arresting it, I mean, are they even looking into it? I mean, your testimony is unbelievably compelling. So I'm just wondering, where are they?
Okay. Your question is good as mine. So I did call the FBI on November 5th, and
Okay.
I spoke with a woman for at least 40 minutes. The phone disconnected. She had all my information. She never called me back. I had to call them back. I haven't been contacted back since.
AK,
Do you
they
think
don't
that-
care.
Did you contact anybody from the Trump campaign?
Oh, yeah. I've been
Wouldn't
talking
they
to
have a
different-
pipeline to the Department of Justice? Well, I mean,
I've been talking to attorneys. What I said just now regarding the Department of Elections and how I was scheduled to work there, that is coming out. That is coming out. That will be coming out next week. There's a lot coming. I was not even supposed to talk about that, but a lot of people mentioned it. So you know what? I'm going to tell you guys about it because this is fraud.
okay,
And there was fraudulent activity occurring there.
thank you. Your testimony was excellent. Thank you.
Fraudulent activity occurring at the Board of Elections. And one woman earlier had a picture of a guy's truck that was carting ballots out of the election,
He'll be followed
State
by
Board of
Bobby
Elections, into a
Tenorio,
precinct, into the counting center
and
at
then
TCF.
Austin Kreutz.
Bombs.